Leslie, thank you so much for coming through. Just in the last hour or so, I saw a video tweeted by Jada Pinkett Smith, who is saying that she's perplexed by the fact that, since this whole focus around surviving R. Kelly started, actually there's been more record sales. How damaging is all of this for R. Kelly, one, but also how have you found the way that it's being handled in the entertainment industry in the U.S.?
Wow. Thank you for the invite. Let me start there. Thank you so much for shining some spotlight on this very important issue. Because R. Kelly is a powerful figure in the music space. He has done so much. This is one of the few musicians that gave us soundtracks of our youth. And they gave us some of the biggest inspirational songs ever. That's why it matters so much that we look closely at what happened. It is a huge catastrophe. It's a huge PR disaster that I don't see him coming out of. And I think it started off with a Twitter kind of war between the producer of this documentary and some people who were sympathetic to R. Kelly. And she did say that she did point out some celebrities that she approached to come and talk about their experience with R. Kelly and what do they think of what has happened in the past years or maybe even 3 decades. And they declined to speak. They include Mary J. Blige. I think they also include Jay-Z. John Legend was the only person that stood up to say, mute R. Kelly. We are not going to tolerate this at a time of Me Too when we're raising daughters, because this could be your daughter next. So he was the first one that made noise, and there was this whole ripple effect that reverberated throughout the industry and the world as we turned over to look at what was happening in the United States. But right now, as you mentioned, Jada Pinkett Smith, she's one of the growing voices that are saying something has to be done, something is wrong here, we've been quiet for too long, it has to be addressed.
But it does seem like we've reached a particular tipping point in as far as Hollywood and, the entertainment industry, at least in the U.S., and its tolerance, for sexual abuse and sexual misconduct. What we saw with Harvey Weinstein and now with R. Kelly and Kevin Spacey as well, yes. Not forgetting Bill Cosby.
Yeah, it's part of that hashtag, it's part of the movement as society in general and women in particular say Me Too. It's part of the ripple effect of being woke, really, and people getting engaged in matters that we've been quite on for so long. And I think these are the benefits of people speaking out and saying, we won't judge you, come out and tell us what has happened, and let's see justice, let's seek justice for you. And for R. Kelly, it's been going on for too long. The allegations have been there. He was acquitted at some point. There were stories that came out, and they all look like false news sometimes. We dismiss them, and we just think, this can't be it. This is the greatest of them all. This is the R&B. This is the Pied Piper. So his fall is very significant, and I think it's a victory for all of these movements and for all of these hashtags.
So talk to me about the conversation here at home, right? As you say, R. Kelly wrote and produced and sang some of the soundtracks to our youth, as you put it. Now, radio stations have long been playing R. Kelly's songs, and, basically, for some of them, it's almost a permanent feature in terms of their playlist. There's that conversation that's been happening. I saw also, interestingly, a sort of Twitter conversation where someone was calling for R. Kelly to be muted on our radio stations, and it led to a whole discussion there.
They always say if you want to see impact, hit them where it matters the most, which is the pocket. So if you don't play R. Kelly's music, there are no royalties, there's no money that he's going to make. So it makes sense that at a time when we zoom into this issue and try to find out what actually happened, we actually stay away from him. I think it's a great move. I think as much as it's painful to a lot of people who are so attached to the music, who are so attached to the power of celebrity and the personality, it has to be done. The new hashtag is Mute R. Kelly. I saw Neo this morning also posted that as a father of daughters, he is shaken by what is happening, and that music is important, but what's more important is saving lives. So the conversation has to move to territories like South Africa, which supports R&B so much, where R. Kelly is such a powerful figure that radio stations need to act also. They cannot divorce themselves. They cannot look away and pretend like it's an American thing. We are giving him money the more we play the music, the more we download the music.
And also, it's an important conversation for us, given our situation with sexual abuse and, crimes against women, really, in this country. Are we having that conversation in our entertainment industry? From time to time, you do see, local entertainment figures appearing before courts for, abuse, physical abuse. But are we having the conversation about sexual abuse as well at the same time?
To be honest, it's not sustained. To be honest, it's not enough. To be honest, it's not honest enough. I just think it happens as maybe, if you like, on an ad hoc basis when there's a big case, when someone speaks out, and that's it, we move on with life. But there are so many examples, there are so many stories of the casting couch, there are so many stories of people being taken advantage of, and just the abuse that women have to go through to just make a living out of something that they are talented with. It's a God-given talent, and they have to be encouraged and we have to be given a safe space. But unfortunately, the entertainment space is not that, and we are not talking enough.
Because there's a power dynamic in all of this, isn't there, Leslie? I mean, the fact that it's part of the music industry and entertainment is about access to the opportunity to express your talent, which sometimes is not easy because someone has the power to open doors or to close doors for you.
The industry is so small. The South African entertainment industry is so small. How many TV channels? You can count them. How many radio stations? How many dramas can you star in? How many production companies can you work with or work for? So the industry is so small, and if you are labeled as a troublemaker or a loudmouth, and then you're basically done. You will not be able to work in this town. When they say you won't work in this town, they really do mean it.
So what will it take then for us to have the honest conversation and actually get it going such that it's sustained, as you are saying, that sustainability is part of the issue?
I think it's the willingness of the people themselves, the people in the industry willing to be honest with themselves and say, what have I done to enable this kind of behavior? What have I done in the past? Maybe I should look into my past and see how I might have enabled this thing. And also, I think the involvement of society in general. There's a lot of activism happening on Twitter, and I think we need to give credit to that. Twitter is not the universe, Twitter is not the world, but there is so much that's happening that I think sometimes it filters down to the people, and I think that's where it needs to start also and be sustained and push the industry to be honest, to sit down and look at what's happening.
So if we were to shine the spotlight, do you believe we would find a whole lot of dirt in terms of our own entertainment industry here?
It's happening as we speak. It hasn't stopped. There are so many people who want to get into the entertainment space, but they cannot because the doors are closed, because there are so many favors that you have to give, to get an opportunity to shine. So it's not going to stop anytime soon unless we talk about it and unless we stand with people who speak out and say it has happened to me and I also need my share of justice to be delivered. Yeah.
The moment for Me Too is really now.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming through. That is Leslie Mofokeng, who is an entertainment editor, joining me to discuss this issue here on ENCA.